interface, you know, the first nasty experience people usually get is at the check-in counter. They have overweight bags and they want to go with them, and they come in and they say, no, you're going to pay. It's not the problem. The only real problem is that they're going to have to pay for that stuff, not leave it behind. I also had a policy, as Kunle will attest to, was if you can't take a passenger's bag, tell him you can't and tell him when he will get it. So that if he has 3 bags, you let 2 go. If he comes the next day, he'll find the 3rd one, and you have to deliver on that promise. That was my philosophy as an airline manager. Today, we are totally disconnected from the people. But anyway, so you are, after that incident at the terminal, you are the next line of interface. What does that mean? You are the line of comfort. You're the line that makes people feel good about your company. That's what you're there for. You're the ones that have to give people a positive feeling so that when they come on board and they experience turbulence, or there's not enough food on board, or they didn't get 3 drinks that they wanted. I remember my drink incident. One time this cabin crew blackmailed me. I said, you know, you guys are taking juice home. And you're not supposed to be taking juice home. And so what they did was, when the passengers got on board, they decided to tell them that we don't have enough, so that they can complain that they're not getting enough juice, so I can reinforce the juice. Because what I did was, I coordinated the bookings with the drinks and made some provision, a percentage provision. I'm a tech manager, so we brought technology to the business. Today we do all kinds of things. But you are that last line of defense of the company that says to that person that this airline is a wonderful company. You may have experienced something with the airport. They are not our staff. Those are the airport staff. There may be delays with these flights. There may be this, there may be that. You are that person that leaves the customer with either a good or bad experience. Even if the pilot flies into blind turbulence, you still have the capacity to soothe the individuals. So I say that you are that interface, and that's what your real job is, that interface. So as somebody that's owned airlines, run airlines, consult for airlines, one of the things I have to pick are cabin crew. And so let me share my personal secret that I hope you can use for your next interview if you're either starting out in the industry or moving from one company to the other and they ask you some questions. These are my usual questions, or this is my usual thing I look for in a cabin crew member. Number 1, do you have a pet? How many of you have pets? Please raise your hand. Just hands. I need to see some hands. 1, 2. Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of maybe 150, right? 100. Okay. So the rest of you will never work for me. The reason why, until you learn to actually care for something that can care for itself, I don't see the quality I require to serve on my airline. Because what is it? The key to the success of being a cabin crew is empathy. Understanding what a person is going through. You don't know why people are on the plane. Somebody is going to bury somebody. Somebody is going to bail himself out of a situation. Maybe he has to go to court to get out of jail. Somebody is on the plane because he has a medical issue that he must address at his destination, or going to address somebody with a medical situation. So the key is empathy. I tell you, there's one cabin crew that lives with me in my home today. I gave him space to live with me. Why did I hire him? It's very interesting. When during the interview, I asked him that he answered all my questions correctly. And I said to him, you will need to come for the second round. And he said to me, I don't know if I can come for the second round. I said, why? He said, because his brother that he borrowed the suit from will be using it the next day. That told me that that is a person that, apart from all the other issues like I talked to you, the key is empathy. You understand? And I do get on airplanes and the cabin crew say, welcome, sit down. Turn off your phone. I wouldn't name some airlines, but they're particularly notorious for turn off your phone business. Most times you don't even turn off your phone. When I see you coming, I put it to the side. When you pass, I pick up my phone and start looking again. Until you actually want to depart, then I actually put it on flight mode. I don't know why you say flight mode doesn't work, that we should switch the damn thing off. I'm a pilot. I don't know what you're shielding, but of course, there's a reason for that. There's regulations, etc., etc., etc. So basically, the key for me, as I said, is your empathy. If I don't see it, I don't let HR people do preliminary review of your CVs. We need to see CVs, so we see where you've worked. And when we see where you worked, note, if you worked with Arik 1 year, then you went to Asman the next year, and the following year with Hero, then the following year you're here, you're out. You have no stability, you have demonstrated no stability. I have kids, and they're very hot mentally, and every company in the world wants them, and they tell them, my son is at Apple today, you understand, he's a software engineer in the iPhone division, and the boy is bored, he says he wants to leave after 1 year. I said, no, you're not doing that. You can't, you just came out of Rockwell. You did 2 years at Rockwell, you're here, you're saying you're bored at Apple. How many will give their head, their liver to work at Apple? So I want to see in your CV some degree. If you don't like your company, stay there. You know, stay there 2 years, stay there 2.5 years, stay there 3 years, so that when we see your CV, we know we're not going to hire you. Remember, there's a lot of training in this business. We often complain that we're not trained enough, okay? But this is a business of training. I mean, unfortunately, we don't do the degree of training because we need to train beyond some of the basics. You know, one of the funny things I find, how many of you can swim? Okay, put it down. How many cannot swim? Are you a current cabin crew? Okay, good luck. This is a business of continuous. I know during one of the interviews I did, I put people in the water, and 80% of them almost drowned. You know, they will tell you they don't tell you they can't swim till they jump into the water. Then you discover that's when you discover that they cannot swim. But swimming is just one of those things. There's all kinds of human factor training, all kinds of medical related training. This is a business of training, and I'm not going to hire you and put money into your training and development for you to work out the door. Unfortunately, a friend of mine who is a classmate of mine, who is the CEO of an airline, hired a guy, sent him from ATP, sent him to go do his type rating on an aircraft. The guy came back, gave his paper and said he has a better job, thank you very much. You know, awful. You think you're doing him, you're doing yourself. This is a business where everybody talks to each other. You know, and they'll say, that girl, don't worry about her, she will not stay. And that's it for your career, and especially the hiring department, they talk to each other. So my point is that we see your CV first, it doesn't tell us anything about you. But when we see you, we're looking for your personality, we're looking for the characteristics, and that's what we're talking about. We want to get the best people on board to provide the best service. And unfortunately, today in this industry, we tend to, when I get on board, I mean beyond that English that I don't understand, but I already know it at the back of my head, you know? I can say it myself now. But beyond the fact that I can't hear it, and most people can't, we really aren't stepping up to being representatives of a company. And I think that that's what I want to say. The future is secure. The future is secure. You just have to up your game, qualification, and get onto an airplane. And then when you get there, you're safe for a while, unlike the pilots, unlike the engineers, and unlike many people in the industry. So I would say that. Then, beyond that, the next thing is, and then how long are you actually going to do this job is very important. You have to also keep in the back of your mind that it's not a long, it's like modeling, you know? It's not a long-term career. And so behind, you have to also start to develop yourself for the next phase of life. I've seen quite a few interesting people that have stepped from the back of the aircraft to the front of the aircraft as pilots. It's a good movement. Some have started. I see a lot of people doing business, setting up their business for the future. That's very important. So what I want to end by saying, and I'm going to end, I was told not to take too much time. I want to end by saying that the future is very secure. The key to the service delivery is in your hands, and I wish everybody the best of luck. Thank you very much.